All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome from all around the world as we jump into our third race of the week. It's time for the Tier 3 racing action, and joining me today, Mr. Unicorn, Mr. Biddo unavailable, however, he'll be returning to the commentary booth later this season, surely. But Unicorn, Tier 3 action, welcome back to Bahrain.
Yeah, Striv, thank you very much. It's going to be a very, very exciting evening to see this Tier 3 grid, for the first time this season. Obviously, I was on it at this time last season in the opening race. But yeah, Tier 3, new season, new drivers. And obviously, Bahrain, like you said, we've seen it a couple times already in the first race of the season. Yesterday with, obviously, Tier 4 and America's Tier 2 as well. But it's an interesting circuit. It's provided some excellent racing already. And I imagine tonight will be no different.
No different at all, Unicorn. And of course, we move through to look at the calendar. The Netherlands next week, already some divisions gearing up to go racing around Zandvoort. And following that, we move to Russia, Belgium, Italy, Japan, Britain. We move through to Baku, of course, Azerbaijan, Hungary, Singapore, France, as well as Spain, Austria, Mexico, and then Brazil for this 15-round season. Take a look at the teams now for Tier 3, and of course, at the Mercedes squad, we have Maka and Carbon Racer. For Red Bull, it's Macario and Artex. Sampa and Hanoz over at McLaren with Epic and Relax for the Scuderia Ferrari. John and Yasko over at AlphaTauri with Max O'Connor and Daniel Monaf for the the Aston Martins. And then we have Bacro and Helium in the Alpines. Except Helium, of course, has moved over to Tier 4, and now we have a different driver in there at the AlphaTauri, except Helium's actually here today, filling in for Bacro. We look at the Alfa Romeos, it's Cotters and Wisp, and then we look at the Williams, Crampy and Wavy, and I hear, well, there's a bit of a prediction that Crampy might just win this race this evening. Rackety and Dark over at Haas, and it's great to see them here in the grid as well. Take a look at the standings, and well, it's empty right now, and there you can see how things will look once we start to populate it with some points, and that's what these drivers are here for today, is the points, Unicorn. And with that said, we are just about ready to go racing here in Bahrain.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned there's a lot of confidence in the Williams squad tonight. We were speaking to a couple of drivers before we went live, and like you said, Crampy, not just him, he wasn't feeling too, confident. He's always very, very humble before these races, but there was a lot of chatter into whose was predictions there, and he said Crampy there, but even he thought, confident in his teammates as well. So Williams already firing on all cylinders, but there's been the Ferrari-powered cars so far this season. We had a double podium for Ferrari in the season opener over in Tier 4, and we had an Alfa Romeo 1-2 last night as well. So we'll see if the tides could change there, but we do have all 20 drivers in nice and quickly as well into the lobby. So we'll get everyone ready up, and we'll get racing underway here.
Now, if you did not join us yesterday for the Tier 4 racing action, I'll take you through it briefly. We had, of course, on the podium, it was Polypunk in the Ferrari, Grenade Garan second position finishing in the Haas, and Papa in the other Ferrari to finish out the 1-3 finish for the Scuderia Ferraris. Now, the qualifying pole position in that race was a 124.928. And with that, of course, well, we'll see if anyone here can do better. Vlad in the Americas Tier 2 division did pole with a 125.020. So we'll see. Things quite tight between those two pole positions. We'll have to see what the Tier 3 grid can put down on circuit today. I do believe the expectation is that it will be quicker than the previous two races we've held already here in Season 5. But as we now jump into action for this 18-minute qualifying, my name's Striffium here from Canada and Unicorn from the UK. Well, it's going to be quite the intense grid, I think, for this Tier 3. Not what everything kind of got pushed back. We've got Tier 1 through 4, of course, and everybody very tight through the margins, as we saw in the selection. So we'll just have to see how this Tier 3 grid shapes up for their first official race.
Yeah, absolutely. 20 drivers straight out of the gate. You love to see it again. Another very fully stocked grid. Hopefully, the qualifying starts sort of on time, as it didn't yesterday. We see the drivers getting stuck in the garages for a little bit in terms of desync with them and us and what they're seeing in terms of the clock, so the clock might not be counting down for them. But we'll just go through whom we've got on that grid. We've got Wavy up at the top there in one of those aforementioned Williams cars. Gabsium there in second place. He's reserving tonight. Then we have Tal Artex there in third place. Yasko in fourth. The two Aston Martins, Daniel Manaf returning to tier 3 alongside AMS Dan there. He's currently 6th at the time attack. Crampy, we've already spoken about him a bit in the other. William Seamer in the McLaren Relax in the Ferrari. Jose Manuel in the Mercedes, already opting for the medium tyres, it would seem. Cotters in 11th right now. Becario, Jean, David Antonio, driver DNB, and Dark Maka, Wisp, Epic, and Rackety round out the grid. Cars are leaving the garage. First and foremost, it is Crampy in that Williams. It's just come straight out of a practice session with a few of the other drivers, and we'll see if that has made it a bit of good use to the young Brit.
Crampy getting out first in the pit lane here on the track, and of course he's very accustomed to doing so. He's a veteran, what I'd call, of the MRL, having driven here now in, well, I think he's been here every season. So it's great to see Crampy here now in the Tier 3 grid. He's in the Williams with his teammate, Mr., of course, Wavy.
Yeah, both drivers seem very happy coming into it, and like you say, they've been around. Obviously, Crampy, a very, very well-known name around, but Wavy as well. He's been here for quite some time too. Both experienced drivers. Will see how well that holds up here. A few names that we haven't seen all too much of here, but a few, turning names you haven't seen in the last season who might have been around before. So it's a nice mix of new and old as we prepare for the first flying lap of the new season. Crampy just coming into Sector 3 there in that Williams, preparing himself. He said he's just been doing a bit of practice. It didn't end on a high note for him.
No.
Hopefully he's shuffled that one off. And well, here we go. The first flying lap for Tier 3. Crampy coming through the penultimate corner. Kick off Tier 3 in this Season 5. DRS open to cross the line. And starting out underneath the lights, this huge run down into turn 1. A very, very good overtake. It's what we've seen it plenty of times already. A very, very tight right-hander. Gets through there quite nicely, using all of the curb on the inside and the outside as he comes through turn 2 into turn 3 to climb the hill up towards turn 4, putting his car over the white line just as much as you're allowed to open up this 4th turn, and using all of the curb on the outside to make it a straight line down towards 5, 6. This twisty Sector 2 section of track. Those curbs can really catch you out here, particularly in the new game. Into turn 8, again, another tight right-hander there. As he comes out of it, powering through down towards turn 9, a fast left-hander before. It's very, very tricky. Turn 10 onto the second of 3 DRS straights. Not the best overtaking spot on the track, but that little bit of DRS can be the difference between two cars in a drag race down into turn 11. A little bit of a lockup, it sounded like there, for the Williams as he comes through into turn 12. Hooking that curb wrong can be race ending, but he's done it through nicely in qualifying. Into 13 again, wide through here, can invalidate the lap. He's used just enough curb. Get another there nicely without invalidating. Very, very, very nicely done from him. Into 14 and 15, the two last corners, they almost look like one as he comes out using the curb on the outside. DRS open for the third and final time, and to kick us off with a 1:25.1. It's a very nice time to open things up for the Williams driver.
Most definitely. David Antonio now coming behind him in the McLaren. A 25.657. Daniel Monaf threw into a 25.410. That was second for only a moment, as it's a Williams 1-2 provisionally. A 25.267 coming out of Wavy. And the Williams squad's going to be thrilled about that. And who's there as well? AMS Dan. Well, he's had a big issue here. He's crossed the line. He took 4th position, but we're staring at a car in the wall at the end of turn 1.
Yeah, Striffo was just going on board with him, looking, you said a Williams 1-2 minutes, and Aston Martin 3-4. I switched on board with him, and he just straight line turn 1. He'd finished the lap and just seemed that he forgot he was controlling the car. He's just completely sent it into the wall, lost his front wing. Luckily for him, it was a head-on collision. He doesn't lose a wheel, and he's still in this qualifying session, but it's a bold mistake, and he's now dropping as times come in. Tau Artex at the top, 1:24.7 to put himself 4/10 clear of Crampy. What an opening lap from the Red Bull. Cotters as well, he slotted himself into 3rd place there in the Alfa Romeo. His teammate Wisp get to set a time on an outlap to come out of the pits as well. So late to the party there for the Swedish driver, but yeah, very, very bizarre from AMS down there. Hopefully that wasn't, an issue with his brake in real life, and he hasn't got a problem there mechanically. But
well, you know all about those.
I know. I do, yeah, very much so. It ended my tier 3 career last season.
Not to laugh, but Unicorn knows the feeling. Gabism now coming out of turn 4 through 5 and 6. I do believe he is the only runner active. He's on the medium compound tires in the Alpine.
Yeah, medium runner. We saw this yesterday. A couple of drivers just putting in a bit of pace testing, I think, on that yellow walled compound. You don't expect much around Bahrain on these mediums. You're seeing it here, Dark. Jose Manuel down in 15th and 16th, the slowest time so far on that compound attire. Jose Manuel, he's just gone around again there. 126.6 was his best time. He hasn't beaten that by quite a margin there in that Mercedes. We'll see whether Gabzium here is able to do something better. But again, the softs will be king here in qualifying. I imagine we'll see every single driver in the top 10 start on the red compound tire.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. It's a very competitive qualifying. As we've seen already, the gap from first down to 10th position is 9/10, and we have now Gabizem seeing if he can get in there as well. He does not get into the top 10, but he does get himself within 1.6 of our pole sitter on the medium compound tire.
Yeah, fastest time as well on those mediums by 2/10 there. So there's confidence to be gained from that lap. Good things that you can take from it, but you'd be surprised if he didn't come out on the soft at some point. We've got a few soft runners now flying. Wisp in the Alfa Romeo. His teammate up in third right now. We'll see whether he can do a little bit better. There's a bit of a rivalry over there at Alfa Romeo. And you always love to see, those friendly inter-team rivalries. And we'll see whether that pushes Wisp here to be faster than Close. A 125.2 to beat there. A 124.7, though, is still the provisional pole time. It is a huge banking lap from Artex at the top there. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. That's going to be the McLaren of David Antonio off. Whether he's just letting past another car. There is Wisp, goes wide and invalidates his first flying run of the evening. He won't be too pleased about that one.
No, definitely not. Wisp looking to get himself into some point scoring positions here, no doubt, as Alfa Romeo has had a very good start to the season, given the 1-2 finish they secured in the Tier 2 Americas division last night. It was a thrilling campaign for them, and Wisp actually shooting down into turn 1 again. It looks as though he is flying, and so we'll see what he is able to do. Yasko there, he finished a 26.017, very narrowly missing out on the sub 1 in 26 times, where his teammate Jean is currently sitting in 11th position. Of course, on board with Wisp coming through turn 4.
Yeah, and that lap time from Wisp would have put him 8. He did a 125.4, but it was higher as driver DMB slots himself into that slot, a 125.5. There's a bit of a gap there where you can slot into, and driver DMB's done just that. Next place for the Alpine, and it's not a bad start for them. Gabzium on the mediums, the fastest on them though. He's of course reserving right now in that slot, taking over for back row for the evening.
Wisp now through 13. Saw him invalidate previously. This time he is valid. He's moving through into the penultimate and final turn of 14 and 15. We'll see what he is able to do once he gets across this line. Very important to get a time set here. Cotter is doing well in third. Wisp, 9th position, a 25.557. And he's a 10th ahead of David Antonio, who's in 10th. A good run from Wisp there to get a good lap in.
Yeah, slower than his first lap. And he'll be, slightly disappointed. Again, the tire wear would have affected that a little bit. And well, it was pretty consistent, about 600 slower than that first lap. But obviously this one valid. Crampy, he's having another crack at it in the Williams. P2 at the moment. He's flying down through into turn 4. Now Artex on an outlap as well in that Red Bull. And that is an astonishing first lap from him. We'll see whether Crampy or anyone else can get close to it as we approach halfway. As there's a Mercedes off in Sector 2. Who was that? I imagine it is Maka there, I think, letting his teammate through. He will not be best pleased with that. What a great way to start the season. We were saying this yesterday. Confidence. You won't really know when you situate yourself in this grid until we see, the first round take place, and qualifying is the first time you see times stacked up against one another, and a good result here will provide great confidence for them. Sema, yeah, 8/10 found. Huge lap time from him.
Very nice run there out of the McLaren. Few more drivers to come through now. Dan in the Aston Martin, a 25.151, taking himself up into the front row with the Aston Martin.
And this time he brakes very heavily for turn 1 as well to make sure he gets that through, and he's beaten instantly by Crampy, who gets nice and close to the Red Bull of Artex there. Not
very
quite close enough. Just considering the charging ball is on a fly and might even get a tow here from his
Epic
teammate.
We'll
see whether this...
Sorry to interrupt you there. Epic coming through into third. Artex pushing out of turn 10. Daniel Monaf with a retirement, and that's a crash. We're going to see it here now. Artex coming through turn 11 on the left-hand side. You can see Daniel Monaf's car just outside of turn 12.
That's an interesting place to crash. You don't see that one too often. You see going into turn 12 and hooking the curb, flinging it out to the left side or hooking it into the right-hand side wall. But to crash before turn 12, that's really the exit of 11 there. It's a bit of a weird one, as we'll see what Artex can do on 1:24.5. That is unbelievable pace showing from the Red Bull here in Tier 3. And he really gives himself a nice bit of breathing distance between him and Crampy. Once again, about 3/10. Crampy has shortened the gap. It was about 4/10, 5/10 before. Now only 3/10, but still 3/10 at this stage is absolutely monumental. Obviously, race pace is a different thing. We'll just have to wait and see how that one stacks up. But right now, the Red Bull, a clear favorite right now in the division. In the opening qualifying stages, Cotter's flying, as well as a couple of other drivers as well. And was that? I think it was Jose Manuel slotting himself into 7th place in the Mercedes.
Very, very nice run there. We have to come up and set a time. Rackety on his way in.
For the reserves right now, doing very well.
10 in the Alpine on the final run, or what could be the final run. We have 4.5 minutes remaining on our clock.
Yeah, he's another one of those reserves I was mentioning, and there's 3 of them in the top 10 right now. There's 4 on the clock. The only other one, David Antonio, in 14th right now. So for the full-time drivers are being beaten right now and having potential points taken away by drivers who aren't here in a full-time capacity, but doesn't make them any less important in the championship. Points can be taken away, by what was known as the Pirates last season, very affectionately named. That's by, of course, Captain Jack Sparrow. Did quite a lot of work in taking points away in Tier 1, most notably. Obviously, we're referring to Cody Lawrence there, but what else I think that was, slotting himself into 9th place, the 125.2. He looks like he's getting ready to tow Wisp along here, potentially down into turn 4.
Yeah, a little bit of team tactics potentially coming out of the Alfa Romeos, and we saw team tactics at play with the Alfa Romeos in Tier 2 Americas yesterday. Here we have it. Not the best tow. I don't really know what that was from Cotters, but Wisp doing a good job of just trying to navigate turn 4 here.
It's an interesting place to try and orchestrate a tow. You would imagine that the pit straight would be the best place to do it. Obviously a bit harder, given that it starts at the end of a lap and finishes at the start of one. Whereas that straight there between turns 3 and 4 is right at the start of the lap. A little bit easier, but still a bit bizarre that they've gone for that. See whether it helped Wisp here to get himself maybe inside the top 10. Or at least closer to it. 11th place right now occupied by the retired car of Daniel Manaf, the only full-time Aston Martin driver here. His teammate, Max O'Connor, not present this evening. But 11th place, favoured by a lot of drivers, with those mediums being available right from the get-go. And we saw it very, very workout for some yesterday. The medium's getting early positions. Wisp takes that 11th slot at 125.389. And that is a powerful position to be in. Only driver right now flying. Vicario, I think, in the other Red Bull.
P11, it is a very good position to get yourself in any situation because it gives you the best of the potential alternate strategy or that free tire choice. And the first of the runners with that free tire choice. Wisp now holding on to that slot by a small margin to Daniel Munaf. Of course, Yasko is the next closest driver who can potentially do something about it. Relax and Maka on outlaps right now, 16-17. The gap on this grid is something to see. If we look at all the way from pole position in first, down through, of course, to 14th position, it is 1 second. If you eliminate Artex from pole position with that amazing time, just about 3/10 in front of Crampy here, well, it's about a second through the entirety of this grid.
Yeah, very, very close stuff. We've seen it a lot. Obviously, everyone has had plenty of time to, pile in the practice for Bahrain before we get into the 1 week sort of gap in between races. Vicario finds 6/10 to put himself into 13th behind his teammate who currently occupies that top spot. Crampy flying in the Williams as well. A little bit of a engine sound glitch on my end. I don't actually know if he's pushing as a result. It doesn't sound like he was pushing with full throttle. We'll have to wait and see when he crosses the timing line. It looks like he is still taking the racing line, so I imagine he is pushing.
Yeah, there is definitely some kind of bug going on at the very least with my end as well.
Crampy is 12 seconds down.
Yeah, well, that's very, very poor lap from him. He could just be trying to get rid of some fuel, trying to match Artex here. He's weaving the car.
Artex has invalidated his lap as well, so the Red Bull won't be improving either. We'll see whether that gives someone else. Dark's flying. Epic is flying as well, along with Dan in the Aston Martin. Wavy is about to cross. Where does he put himself? Up into P3. 2.5 tenths found there for the Williams driver, just ahead of Dark, who, like I mentioned, is on a flying lap as well. Epic in the Ferrari will be the next of those top runners to jump into a new position if he finds time. He's got just under a tenth to Dark. We'll see whether he's done enough on this final run. It will be his last. And it's enough to stay in P5. He's actually slower by 2/10. His previous best lap.
Dan has had an issue in that Aston Martin coming through the final couple turns, and it looks like he's on his way into the pit lane as things wrap up in qualifying.
Dark invalidated as his lap as well. The Haas won't be improving either.
One Haas we can look at is Rackety as he pushes down the final straight into 14-15.
People who could improve here, I think. Seema, he's on for a small improvement. We'll see whether he can do anything in that McLaren. Jose Manuel as well. But right now, it's looking like the top 5 have really struggled with that lap times. Crampy didn't find anything and retires in the pit lane to mark the end of his session. There goes Seema. Finds time. 2/10. 4th for him at 124.9. Just sneaking under the 125 window.
Otter's moving into 4th position as well, just ahead of Seema. Jose Manuel, 8th position is where he will stand at the checkered flag. Epic in the Ferrari now pushing to the checkered flag as well. Where will he land? It's the front row, a 24.788 for him. His teammate Relax into the pit lane. And I do believe this will finish out our qualifying session. Artex and Epic on the front row. It's Crampy and Wavy, the Williams pair, on the second row for this one. We have Cotters and Seema rounding out the third row there, and we'll look at the entirety of this grid in just a moment. But, of course, the gaps. Well, things are very tight on this grid, Unicorn. A Red Bull on pole position, a 24.5 dead here for round 1 of the Tier 3 action. What a grid.
Yeah, very much. An awesome lap there from our Artex, and I'm sure a few of the other drivers here will be trembling a little bit at that Red Bull's pace, and just such an impressive lap time. He did it early on as well. He didn't, wait till last minute. Obviously, there was a big improvement, but it was clear just from the banker lap times that he is fastest around here, at least over the course of one lap. Crampy, he was up there for quite some time. Epic sneaking in there last minute as well, but there's plenty to play for. The Aston Martins there, both crashing out. Dan in ninth, obviously here in a reserve capacity. Daniel Manaf all the way down in 14th after his crash retired him just into turn 12. So they'll both be hoping to sort of gain a little bit more than what they did there in qualifying and be a bit more successful in the race. Obviously, consistency is a little bit more important than one lap pace over the course of a race. But obviously, speed still plays a huge portion in it. And we've got a few seconds until we find out how it all fares and how it all plays out in round one, Striff.
Bahrain, a circuit we've already seen twice this week. Of course, Tier 4 yesterday evening, as well as the Americas Tier 2 division. We have the Tier 1 Americas division later this evening. For those of you, it's at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or 3 a.m. in Central Europe. Sorry for that, but it is, of course, the Americas division, and I'll be commentating that with Mr. Seb. But we have so much action to really play through in a week. Drivers get to watch one another race, pick up strategies from grid to grid. There's a lot of practices that unfold as well. A lot of different things that we saw in both those races yesterday. We only had one safety car and that was in the Tier 4 race. We didn't see anything like it, of course, in the Americas Tier 2. Now we look at this grid. Of course, 20 drivers and quite the split. From 1st to 10th, of course, everyone's starting on those soft compound tires. From 11th down to Maka in 20th. Everyone opting for the mediums. We saw yesterday in Tier 4, one driver opting for the hards. This time, no one's opting for hards. Everyone's either on the mediums or softs here. We'll just have to see how it plays out as we are on formation now, ahead of these 29 laps. Oh, I am very excited for this one. Of course, big thank you to our partners, Fytron. If you don't know Fytron, they are an up-and-coming software developer, and they're a great asset to engine builders globally with their software. You can check them out, exclamation Fytron in the chat, and of course down below in the panels. And they're really putting themselves with the best foot forward to come out of that real world into the virtual world to help grow sim racing. So thank you to Fytron Software, and well, Unicorn, take us through this grid.
Yeah, absolutely. After that incredible lap, Tau Artex on pole position with Epic sneaking in there last minute, following in the footsteps of the Tier 4 success for the Ferrari squad up in P2 here on the front row. Then the two Williams, Crampy ahead of Wavy on the second row of the grid. Cotters starts 5th ahead of Seema in the McLaren. Dark in 7th in the Haas ahead of Jose Manuel reserving over at Mercedes. Another reserve driver, Dan, behind him in the Aston Martin there. Driver DMB in the Alpine ahead of David Antonio. Another reserve over at McLaren. Gabzim, the final reserve this evening over at Alpine in 12th. Wisp in 13th. Daniel Manaf, after a crash in qualifying, finds himself down in 14th position. Beccario 15th in the other Red Bull. His teammate obviously on pole. So a little bit disheartening for him to see. Yasko in 16th. Rackety 17th. There's been an issue for one of the McLarens. It is David Antonio, who's had a crash, it would seem, coming out of turn 13, but back down to the rest of the qualifiers. Relax in 18th for the Ferrari squad. John in 19th and Maka in last place. All of the drivers outside the top 10 on mediums, all of them inside the top 10 on the softs, as we get the front runners lining up on the grid ready for lights out, Striff.
Well, I cannot wait for this action. Everybody in the chat, let us know who you've got for the win. Let us know who you've got on the podium, and let us know how many safety cars we may just see in this Tier 3 division racing action as the lights come on here in Bahrain. Unicorn, take us away.
Well, we've got 4 or 5 red lights here on in Bahrain. It's the third time this week. The engines are revving and the lights are out. It's the Red Bull getting a great start, but Crampy behind him has got an even better one. He instantly gets past Epic. His teammate has had such an unfortunate, a completely different start. He is dropping like a stone, managing to brake late and stay in third. Epic dropping to yet another Williams here. He's got the Ferrari, the Alfa Romeo, sorry, of Cotters behind him, battling for 5th there with Seema. We've got Dark, Jose Manuel side by side. Dark getting up into that 7th place there. Seema on the inside of Cotters gets past The Alfa Romeo for 5th, and Dark is looking to see if he could take advantage of the situation opening there. The medium runners, David Antonio, grabs him already up into the top 10. It's a terrible start for driver DMB, who drops to 16th place in the Alpine. But at the top, not too much movement for Tau Artex, who stays up in the lead and by quite a margin too. Half a second already to Crampy, and it's extending by the minute. He is roaring away in that Red Bull. The two Williams get past Epic as well, so 2-3 for them. But a bad start for Epic, who will not be happy getting passed by not one but two Williams drivers in the opening lap.
Rackety right now, looking a little exposed coming through turn 11 and 12. A little shaky on the mediums right now. He's got Dan on these soft compound tires, who's fallen out of the top 10, looking to hunt back with the traction that he's got at his disposal. We look now to the inside for the Aston Martin. What a push now. Rackety later on the brakes. Dan holding well on the inside. Does he have enough of an exit here? Rackety is not letting him go, and just ahead of them, Dark in the other Haas is looking tight to Cotters as well. Dan, what a battle here between these two. And David Antonio, excuse me, as we jump ahead, wheel to wheel, David Antonio and Gabizem having an exchange as Gabizem, 9th position for him. David Antonio can't be getting held up too much by this battle because Dan and Rackety are not that far behind. Cotters right now has Dark just sitting in his rearview mirrors, and of course he's trying to keep up with Sema, who already took him for 5th position.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great move through turn 4 on that opening lap. No one really getting moves done. In this second lap, a bit of a split happening due to that battle between Gabzim and David Antonio. They've already broken what will be DRS trains when it gets enabled quickly. Yasko all the way down in 20th position. He's 4.6 seconds off the rear of this grid, so he has had a problem in the opening 2 laps. Not the way you want to start your campaign with an early mistake like that. We obviously haven't seen what's happened there. Dark still on the rear of Cotters, and I was saying DRS will be enabled on the next lap, and well, that will create a lot of opportunities. Crampy has been able to stick within a 1 second window of Artex, and Wavy sticking with his teammate as well, with Epic right on his gearbox, his qualifying pace, trying to keep him close to Wavy and try and get back past when we get that drag reduction system enabled. You can see that Tau Artex at 128.9 starting to crush the gap down, and we'll see. Just
John and Driver now having an exchange. Driver trying to get himself back into a good position on these softs. David Antonio and Dan now, they're having an exchange as Dan, it's wheel to wheel through turn 3. Dan on the inside, and Antonio pushing well out on the exit. Dan still there. Dan pushing with the softs on the inside now of turn 4. Will take 10th position. Can he hold it? David Antonio very tight to the rear now of the Aston Martin, and there's been an issue. There's been an Alfa Romeo. He's gone into the wall. It's Cotters, and he is going to drop down this grid like a stone. Meanwhile, Rackety hunting down Becario. Wisp is there on the inside of turn 8. Wisp through into 12th position, looking to take every opportunity available, and he is going to take that position from the Haas, or is he? Rackety there on the inside of 10. What action we are seeing here. Rackety with DRS on the run into 11. Wisp might not be able to hold on to this.
Yeah, great. Late on the brakes there for the Haas. Puts him side by side as they come through 11 now on the outside of 12. It's going to be driver DMB going around the Alfa Romeo. It's a brilliant move. We saw a similar one yesterday in the corner after it, and driver just able to hold Wisp at bay there. And Wisp loses not 1 but 2 positions. And Rackety, what a start he's had to this race. 5 positions gained, the most out of any of the drivers. Wisp coming back at driver here into the penultimate corner. Can he get it? No, he can't. He is on the mediums, though. There is Jose Manuel. What's happened to the Mercedes? As Wisp now under pressure from Relax, the Ferrari looking to get his 5th position of the race, but they're going to go 3 wide because driver DMB doesn't have the speed into the first corner. Relax backs out. Wisp is going to be a bit bolder on the brakes. Mack is going to join the party as well. The Mercedes gets past the Ferrari, who has a little bit of a traction issue coming out of turn 2. Dan, David Antonio further up the field. They exchange. The Aston Martin getting ahead out of turn 4. On the note of Aston Martin's, Cotters wasn't the only person to crash last lap either. Daniel Monaf, we saw him crash in qualifying. He crashed in lap 2 as well. He came off in the opening stages of the lap, and he is now all the way down. Driver and David Antonio, he's struggling with that McLaren. He has a really big wobble out of turn 8 there, and he's dropped time to Dan as a result. But my, oh my, this has been an opening lap for the ages. Wavy, Epic, they're exchanging now, and it's a spin
Oh!
for the Ferrari. He had a great qualifying. He had a poor race start trying to get past one of those Williams. Now he finds himself facing the wall. I don't think there's any damage on that Ferrari, but the damage will be that he's now out of the points and on the soft tires. That is not where you want to be as his teammate now. It's going to come steaming through on his inside, and they're very, very close here. They don't come together, but I don't think Epic wanted to give his teammate that position. Stuart.
No, he was not looking too giving there in 15th now. Epic, he's going to be on some worn rubber. The rubber is not going to be feeling good at all. And it looked like it might have taken him a moment to realize who was actually there, or maybe there just isn't a good relationship there. I don't know.
A little bit of a rivalry, but someone where teammates aren't close. Crampy, he has left Wavy in the dust, and DRS has glued him to the rear of Tau Artex. He is really stuck to this Red Bull. Now, just 4/10 away, and DRS is keeping him there. The Ferraris, well, they do exchange, and well, Relax is going to lose out not one, but two positions as Jean comes through as well into turn 4.
And like Relax,
doesn't find it.
a little bit of an issue through turn 3 there. It looked like he took all of the inside, or if not the outside curbing there. Wisp right now, we've seen it before. He's looking for the inside again of turn 8. Driver DNB slams the door. Rackety right now. He's around the outside of turn 10. Becario is in the fight now very heavily here. And there can't be too many missed opportunities or risks taken here, because if someone makes a mistake, there will be someone there to pick up the pieces. Rackety on the inside of turn 11. Becario says, I'm going to hold this with everything I've got. Driver says, Rackety, you need to make these things stick, or I'm going to come right around the outside of 13. He's still fronts to rears. Does he have the power? Driver DNB and Rackety, this fight has been waging for laps on laps in this race. We're only on lap 5. But this has been the entirety of this race. These guys have been fighting in the midfield, and Driver now has made his way on his starting softs back into the top 10. What a monstrous charge he has been able to find himself on here in this field.
Yeah, well, Rackety's going to look for it into turn 1, and he's late on the brakes, and Driver getting stuck behind Becario. They're side by side through turn 1. Rackety, he's going to get that traction zone, and Wisp is looking at the cars behind. There's 3 wide behind them, and Wisp going to lose out to Maka, and he might lose out to the Ferrari of Epic as well. His teammate spun through turn 12, and it's very late on the brakes for the Scuderia, and it's a bit too late on the brakes as he spins around through turn 4. It's the 1 but 2 Ferraris spinning in just quick succession. They are both now out of the points, 15th and 17th. It was such a good qualifying. He's down 13 places right now in that Ferrari. What a shame. What a poor race start in the opening round of the season. But my, oh my, we are seeing some very, very dramatic action here in Tier 3.
Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. This is what it's about right here. So much action. And you know what? We have so much tire strategy unfolding here. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle in. We're on lap 6 out of 29, and I've already felt like I've commentated half a 100%er, and you and I would know we've done so many of those as well. The action that we're seeing here in this Tier 3 grid, it's the first round. Oh my. What a race we're seeing here. And Crampy as well, notably holding on to Artex in lead of things. Wavy now under threat. The McLaren SEMA. It's a position change for these two as he moves through into 3rd position ahead of Wavy. A little bit of desync potential there. Dan and David Antonio, well, we've been seeing that position exchange lap after lap as well, as they have been caught in an everlasting duel. Look at this. Dan holding David here on the outside right now as we come into turn 4 ahead of the McLaren. Great racing tonight. Great racing tonight. You love to see it, knock wood. We don't want to see anything bad happen.
Again, a little bit hot on the brakes here. He gets past Becario, but then he just goes too deep, and it allows the switchback from the Red Bull. And that kind of move, we've seen it a couple times from Rackety. He's just not planning them out as Maka and Wisp go side by side into turn 8. And this is not a section of track you see side by side action through a lot as Wisp is still there on the inside. Rackety again deep into the corner. I wonder whether that's a setup issue there that he is struggling with. And there's a 3-second time penalty to boot. I'm surprised he got it. He was very, very slow on that off track as he rejoins and loses the position. Driver DMB as well. Who's going to lose traction?
Oh, no, Driver! That is not what you want to be doing in the Alpine, even remotely.
There's been a crash ahead as well. David Antonio and Dan have come off together in turn 12.
Everything coming loose here on lap 7. Driver losing traction through turn 11. Artex now. Well, look at this. Artex, the pole sitter, has just lost lead of this race. Crampy doing work in the Williams, and now Artex staring down the rear end with the Sofino rear wing. Artex pushing back with the DRS into turn 4, and we have a battle for the lead in the first stint, ladies and gentlemen.
His teammates have to do a bit of work as well. He's lost the position to Seymour again, and now Dark's joined the party as well. Having seen that battle, it's really dragged him in to the thick of things. Makarakati Day exchange as there's pit stops coming now for driver DMB and Dan. Potential damage there or just worn tires after the spins they had. Rakati whisked side by side through sector 2, and Rakati again just losing out. I think he is really, really struggling with the setup there.
Alrighty, Rackety Wisp now, Jean. Looking to just get Yasko back in here and give us a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Always hate when a driver has connection issues. Dark and wavy now. Oh, it's so tight throughout this grid. You don't know where to look right now. Pit stops are going to be coming through soon. Undercuts are going to be attempted. These soft runners who qualified on these tires, is Crampy going to shoot in here? Well, it's too late now. He'd be getting a penalty for crossing in, but I think we might see some pit stops start to come through here at the very least. For some of these drivers, Crampy, Artex continuing their exchange at the front end of things. We have a driver rejoining as our timing tower has escaped us. Dark and wavy. SEMA, everybody locked in here. Wheel to wheel through turn 3 right now. Wavy in 4th position. Artex and Crampy still exchanging through turn 4. Artex holding on to lead of this race. We're trying to get you all of the overtaking, all of the wheel to wheel battling. And look at all of this action. You just love to see it. SEMA holding on. Wavy, Dark fighting him for that 3rd position, and these soft runners now the top 5. Who is going to be the first to blink?
Yeah, awesome battle we've got going on for 3rd place, and obviously the lead as well. Like you say, the pit window is now open, but you imagine everyone's going to wait until someone else does something, or they get to a stage where they feel they can make the mediums go comfortably to the end in the mid-pack. That battle's still raging on, and they seem to keep engaging in turn 10. It is not the place to make overtakes, but it's where they've been doing the most fighting wheel to wheel. It's a very, very surprising sort of phenomenon we've got going on there. The battle for 8th. Vicario currently sitting in there. Rakati with 3 seconds. He's been struggling. Wisp's been there quite some time too, and Jean now too in that AlphaTauri looking on. AlphaTauri haven't had the best
Wavy, hold the phone
today.
on the inside, sort of interrupt your unicorn of 14 and 15, looking to push SEMA. And Wavy's going to shoot into the pit lane. Where's SEMA? He's outside, and there's Dark as well. So Wavy is the first of the top 5 soft runners here to pull the trigger and come in and get off the soft rubber. And we'll just have to see what tires he gets on. It's going to be either the mediums or hards, and you can pull off a one-stop here on either tire. He's gone long enough to try the mediums. So Wavy is in. He's on to the mediums. We'll see how it pans out. Artex, Crampy, they've exchanged Crampy. Well, you love to see it now. Tight battling for race wins.
Yeah, and if Wavy's come in, that means that you would have thought they would have shared their strategy, and if they think it's the best times to come in at lap 9 for one car, you'd think that lap 10 would be a sensible decision for the car as ahead as well. So Crampy would not be surprised to see him enter that pit box as well. And obviously Artex would really be forced to follow, you would think, in that Red Bull. He's currently sitting in P2. Things starting to calm down just a little bit here as gaps start to form. The medium runners really well situated. Gabsium, he has got 6.7 seconds to the medium runner behind. That is an excellent place to be for the Alpine. He can really wait out for a potential safety car, because it doesn't look like a safety car is going to come at the perfect time for the soft runners. We saw it, I think, on lap 11 yesterday, and that really helped out 3 soft runners who just tried to take those early start tires a little bit longer. The front 2 are coming in. Crappy leading Artex into the pit lane, and Crappy having to brake very hard there. Almost got caught spinning in the pit lane. It will be Artex in first. Of course, the Red Bull pit box at the start of the pit lane. Crappy's all the way at the end. Dark now leads, but Gabsium up into P2. I'll be very, very delighted with how this race has gone. Wisp looking at Rakati for turn 1.
Rockety DRS on the rear wing right now on the rear of Becario, really giving him a defensive ability that Wisp's not going to be happy with. A slight tap from Wisp on the rear of the Haas coming through turns 1 and 2. But that DRS train, is it ever powerful? Especially for Rockety. He's kind of in a position right now where, well, he's got to pick and choose. He's got an advantage over Becario, but once he clears Becario, he's going to lose that should Wisp follow him through.
You have to be careful with how you manage everything in this game. Things spaced out a little bit more now. And this DRS train, the one, really the only one that's left. You've got Crampy and Artex still within one another. They're 8th and 9th right now. Still in the points impressively on those fresh mediums. Got Wavy, Seema as well. I imagine Dark will be coming in this lap. If he doesn't, I would be surprised. To the very least, Codder's a 128.3. He goes fastest here. I would expect Crampy or Artex to take that, if not this lap, the next lap. And Artex, well, he'll have DRS as well. So next lap, I would not be surprised if we saw that Red Bull jump back into that purple lap time. Here comes Dark, and he is in for his stop. He has heading off of the softs, and it will be mediums, you would expect.
See how this goes now. The big run into turn 1 for these drivers 3 through 6, and of course Rockety on the inside of Becario looking for it. Wisp has the front row seat. Becario is going to have the inside here for 2. Rockety holding well. A little bit of a shove. Becario, no, he's into the gravel trap, and there's been a little bit of a snap for the Haas. Wisp now looking into turn 4 on the outside of the Haas. Look at the traction here. Does he have enough power? Does he have what he needs? Look at this. Alfa Romeo charged through turns 5 and 6. There's contact. Rackety's round in the Haas. He's burning it. He's trying to get things spun around. Cars are coming through now. Wavy is going to pass him. He's going to have to slow down very abruptly there as well. My, oh my, did that ever get slammed wide open?
Yeah, very wild bit of racing. People starting to get a bit unsettled in the middle of this race now. 12 laps in, 29 in total, and we're really getting to that midpoint. And it's been a while since a few of these drivers will have raced, at this sort of level, competitively. It's been a long off-season. Who's this driver?
Oh, no. Well, that's where we've seen it. Turn 8 and... Oh, my God. George. The safety car has been deployed.
Well, now, what do you do if you're in the top 4? You have to come in for hards, I think. I don't know if soft surely can't go to the end. This is really not good. They're going to have to take the opportunity, but it will have to be hards. There's Gabzium doing just that. Crampy. Well, he's going to say thank you very much for this. Retaking the lead with no effort at all. Artex will, close up as well.
Well, what an undercut it's been.
Quite far behind, but they were very happy with this. Wavy back up into the podium positions as well. And I believe, Gabzium's got ahead of Seema and Doc. So Wavy will be thanking his lucky stars as well, because now his 2 main rivals in this race have got a hard runner to get through. It's not the hardest track to overtake out by any means, but that little bit of, time they will lose as Jean and Dan just jostle for position as Jean leaves the pit lane, and the AlphaTauri has got the benefit there ahead of the reserve driver for the Aston Martin.
This race has been phenomenal. Let us know in the chat how you're enjoying this race, of course. My name's Striffium here from Canada. Joining me from the UK, Unicorn. Man, this has been an absolute thriller. I am really enjoying it. I have to say, this race has been great.
Absolutely, and well, it might just get a little bit more drama. The chat right now debating whether Wisp will make it to the end of this race. Soft. Lap 13 safety car. He's in a sea of hards. He should be faster at the very least than, well, most drivers on this grid. He didn't have the best qualifying to start it off, but with the tyre advantage, you would expect to see him gain a few positions. He's been battling all race long. He's warmed up for the occasion. Got a moment to contemplate how he's going to play the rest of this one. His teammate all the way down in 18th, 10 places behind him. The points of Alfa Romeo really land on his shoulders. He had a great race last night in America's Tier 2. The success is not quite replicated at this stage of the race, but will this bold strategy play out? It could be. if it does work out, a podium for him. But you would expect that the podium right now, it looks pretty set with, again, another potential double podium. 3 races in a row. This time, we said they were confident coming into it, but Wavy and Crampy Chef have been doing very, very well. Artex, though, a real thorn in their side. What a drive he's having. He has dropped to P2 from starting pole, and Crampy's race pace definitely seems to be quite there, but everyone's battery all fully charged, getting ready, to be going racing again, and that'll provide another dynamic as well. The management out of the window for a few laps, allowing people to push in those opening few laps after the restart. Hopefully, the bottom 2 drivers, Potters and Yasko, can catch back up to the safety car queue and get back to green flag racing. Probably not next lap, but the lap after, lap 16.
Well, driver DNB, he has had such a roller coaster of a campaign, and unfortunately it's ended with him terminally retired from this one. And well, we saw him start on the softs. He dropped back into 16th position, notably pushed himself back into 10th, and then found himself with further issues, finally, unfortunately, finding that wall outside of turn 8. And now we have our safety car. Looks like we might just be ready to go back to green flag on lap 15. Potters and Yasko not super far as we come through into turn 10 here on board with Dark. But of course, Crampy is going to be in charge of leading this grid once the safety car does come in. And him and Artex have been battling it out all race long. They have not let one another out of their sights, rear view mirror or in front or otherwise.
Yeah, and now there's not just, the drivers that they've been fighting all race long, but there's more people in this sort of tussle now. Safety car is coming in this lap, so very nice call there from the game. And those 2 drivers at the back have caught up enough, it would seem. And, well, maybe last game that would have gone around once more, but here we are. Crampy leading the restart. We've seen some strong restarts already. Bahrain here. It's a pretty clear-cut way to do it. If you want to do it, as we've seen already, just throttle it out of turn 15. Leave everyone else to come through that penultimate and final corner. See whether Crampy does that with the traditional restart here. It looks like he's lining up to do it. Holding Tao Artex up here. He's waiting. He noticed that Tao Artex was ready, and what a restart that is. He's got him off guard so much. And Dark already getting past Seema. That was before the line. We'll see whether that allows him. And Maka, they're 3 wide and ahead of them. It's 3 wide as well, down into turn 1. Wavy's looking to make it a Williams 1-2. Tao Artex a little bit of wheel banging between the 2, and Wavy's just about got the Red Bull. It's 1-2 for Williams and the Alpine of Gabdium. What a restart for the man on the hards. You wouldn't expect that traction out of turn 3, but he's going to take it around the outside of 4. The hards will let him down here, but Dark's on the inside. It's 3 wide here again. Dark has to back out. The Alpine, though, still there, being brave, but Artex gets back through for P3 behind them. Wisp looking to make early positions on these dots, but it's a huge lunge from Dan, and it hasn't worked out for the Aston Martin, who loses.
There's a crash!
And there's a big pile-up. There's a big Vicario across the road. That is unbelievable. Relax just smacking into Connors there. No front wing. And my, oh my, that is not what you want to see on a safety car restart. And I'm surprised if your prophecy hasn't come true, because that safety car almost certainly bred another one, but we haven't seen it here.
That is very shocking. Major scenes in turn 8. The stewards, I imagine, going to be all over it. But as you said, no safety car as a result right now. On board with Dark in the Haas. He's hunting down Gabizim. And man, I have to say, what a horrid restart it has been for the man who once started this race in pole position. Mr. Artex, 1.3 on the rear of the Williams. And the Williams off to a dream start here. And man, what a week it has been for some of these constructors, running tight up at the front. We saw it with the Ferraris yesterday. We saw it with the Alfa Romeos. Here we're seeing Wisp move through in the Alfa Romeo ahead of Maka. And now we're seeing it again today with the Williams cars. Rackety, David Antonio through turn 3 right now. Jose Manuel on the rear. He's got a great charge. It's going to be 3 wide for a drag race into turn 4. A little bit of action going on behind them. Jose Manuel, 10th position for him in the Mercedes. Rackety is behind there in 11th, and Epic. What's happened there between Epic? Was that Epic? No, David Antonio dropped.
3 wide. He just 2 on the inside. He just lost the rear. Trying to take that corner a bit too tightly. And, well, He's got behind his teammate now for the evening. But yeah, this has been a crazy portion in this middle section of this race. We lost a couple of drivers there as well. Daniel Manaf and Relax calling it in the pit lane. For my oh my, that is not the restart I think anyone was expecting. Wisp, he needs to be making a few more positions. He's been proactive on the restart. Isn't quite finding the pace he needs though on those softs. He needs to be up, challenging, you know, maybe even hunting down Artex. Obviously, Artex has insane pace we've seen so far here at Bahrain. Wisp, though, a great run out of 13. He's going to position himself well for a move down into turn 1. He did it on Maka last lap. He's going to try it on Dark this lap, but he needs to be in front of Gabsium. That driver's on hards in the Alpine. Here he goes. Dark just completely obliterated by the soft tier that Wisp's got, but Gabsium, great pace on those hards. There goes Wisp, a 128 flat. Fastest lap of the race on those softs, but he also needs to be aware. He needs to make it to the end of this race, and it might have to be a 2-stop for the Alfa Romeo. It's a bold strategy. He has to do his best to make it work, though.
Wisp right now, Dark, looking for a potential opportunity to get back on with Wisp here. And here's the thing, right? You've got these softs for Wisp. Dark's on the mediums, and those mediums are going to carry him all the way to the end, undoubtedly, in comparison to what Wisp is on. And Gabism on these hards, if he holds up Wisp for even 1-2 more laps, those tires for Dark are going to get their edge back over Wisp. And now we've had an issue with the McLaren. Sema, coming out of turn 4, is missing the entirety of his front wing here, Unicorn. And he's just gotten back going now. But I have to say, not in good shape. Wisp now on the inside of Gabism into turn 11. The Alfa Romeo doing further work here. Dark is there as well, looking on the inside. Nothing just yet in the hards. Falling to the softs. Will they fall to the mediums in rapid succession? Time will tell.
Well, I said he needs to do it, and he's done it. It's just a case of what pace he can carry now, and can he take those tires to the end, because Gabsium and Dark, you've got to be certain they will be knocking on his door by lap 29. It's just a case of can they keep it there, and can Wisp's tires make it to lap 29. Also, we're pointing out Wavy and Artex. They've towed each other all the way back to Crampy, and now the young Brit in that Williams, who was a second clear, is now under pressure. Jean Maka exchanging. Jean breezing past the Mercedes, who hasn't had the best restart. He's lost a couple of places, but Jean very deep into turn 1. Won't open the door there, but it might open the door into turn 4 for the Mercedes. Rackety, Epic, they exchange. Epic, well, what a poor race he's had. Here is he's under pressure from the Haas. He qualified P2. He's all the way down now, 10 places below in 12th, and he's looking to try and hold on to 11th here. It's not going to be, as the Haas just squeezes him wide. Rackety, very, very nice driving there from the Haas. He was Renault last season. Moving over to the Haas squad as Sema calls it quits in the pit lane after that turn 4 incident, losing his entire front wing. Very, very unfortunate. That's 3 cars gone in just as many laps.
Dark hunting down Gabism. He's been wanting to move through on Gabism for some time on these mediums, but they're just not enough to move through on Gabism and his pace right now. Gabism placing this Alpine in all the right places, it would seem, as Wisp is pulling away on these softs well from Dark. And we wanted to see Dark potentially hold with Wisp. Of course, the question remains, will Wisp finish this race on those tires? It is a stretch. Dark being patient as it looks into turn 14. Holding off on pulling the trigger there. Meanwhile, Epic on the inside of Rackety in the same turn just behind. Moving through into 11th position. Back to Dark and Gabism. There it is. DRS assisted through into 5th position. And Dark needs to make haste and catch up that gap to Wisp ahead.
Yeah, Wisp, he's made it very, very interesting on the tyre strategy front, those softs, and I imagine the other tiers will be looking at this. You know, tonight's America's race, tier 2, tier 1, they'll be looking at this. They'll be looking at what he could do on those softs. How long can he take them? And how much of a risk can he take? Dark! He's around! He's become another victim of that Sector 2. And in the Haas, is just struggling to get on, almost seeing the Mercedes there, Jose Manuel run into the river, and it's now Haas down, fighting for the final point. Dark and Rackety 10th and 11th right now. Rackety, though, with a penalty there. But that's not what you want to see for Dark, and he was really struggling to get past Gabsium. And on the mediums, he had to do better. It looks like he's just pushed a little bit too hard now and finds himself all the way down in 10th place.
Oh no, Crampy, no! Outside of turn 13, Unicorn, he's gone deep and wide, and he's just lost it a bit. Wavy, his teammate now, is in lead of this race. Artex in second. It isn't all lost. But man, is that bad news for the Williams 1-2 running, because Artex has not been able to do much about Wavy until now. Because now Artex, of course, with the DRS, Wavy without it. Things switch just like that.
All three of them are out of battery as well. They're all really just on that 1%. And it's a huge, huge way to be with 9 laps to go. Who can recharge the most? Now, Tau Artex, to be honest, it's a bit of a bad position here. Unless he can get away. Wavy, very slow. Was that calculated? He picked up a 3-second penalty. So whether it was or it wasn't a good thing to do
No,
there.
definitely
for
not.
Wavy. But Crampy's now back through. But they've lost so much time to Artex in front. Crampy almost dropping out of DRS range. He won't, because there's the timing line. But my oh my, if that was deliberate, Williams are playing a very risky game, because not only that, but Wisp is now here. He's within DRS range. He won't have it here, but he will have it into turn 1. He won't be a threat for the podium, you wouldn't think, given his tyres, but he will be able to hold people back with a little bit of a fight here for P3. So Wavy, he needs to be careful now. The win pretty much robbed from him with that 3-second time penalty. But that is a huge mistake, intentional or not.
Maka holding off Dan right now. We've seen Dan do some work through this race, and he's been in a number of exchanges. Epic still fighting off with Rackety there for 11th position. Cotter's on the rear of Yasko as Artex now given some opportunity to breathe, pushing through and lead of this race. Is going to take the fastest lap. Meanwhile, Epic and Rackety, they exchange once again for 11th position. Epic is now in lead of that. However, battery in full utilization here. No DRS needed for the Haas. He is going to blow ahead of that Ferrari. Maka and Dan right to the rear of Jean now.
Yeah, nice move there from Maka. Seems to have found a little bit of a second wind in this race. Wasn't the best restart for the Mercedes, either of them really, but Maka now up in 7th place, looking like he's got a bit of fire in him, looking to try and get past Jean. He's just made it past Dan. And the hards, they'll be coming into their own a little bit. They'll be feeling fine. The mediums won't be feeling awful yet. It will start to die out. We saw it yesterday in Tier 4. Daz making a very last-minute move on those hards that he took from a similarly pointed safety car. Obviously, the mediums were a little older in that race than they will be at the end of this one. But it still stands that the hards, they do last longer than the mediums, obviously. And as we get into those later stages, we might see a few moves from the likes of Jose Manuel Rackety, or the 3 drivers, of course, from 5th through 7th, have the advantage over Dan and Dark there on the mediums, in particular Dan, whose mediums are 12 laps old, so he will be struggling for pace in comparison at the end of this one.
I'd love to see all of the strategy at play here, even with the safety car. Tire wear has become a factor. Epic right now hunting down Rackety still. Such tight intervals on this grid, and we look at Dan as well. He's hunting down Maka. That train on the rear of Jean. Does Maka have the trigger pull in mind? Yes, he does. Up the inside, he shoots into turn 1. Dan here on the rear. Jean squeezing, holding Maka as well as he can. Does Dan have enough of a run here? Jean actually has the DRS for a potential switchback opportunity. He looks to the outside of Maka. Maka holding nice and tight to the inside here. Dan with a little bit of an open door. Oh, you love to see battling like this.
Absolutely, Rackety, Epic exchanging as well there, side by side, just coming out of turn 4 there. Rackety in 11th, holding off the Ferrari for now. It's a little bit futile given the penalty situation, but he'll be hoping that the Ferrari picks one up of his own. Again, a little deep. Epic trying to find a way through, but Rackety gets a nice exit, holds on now, and is doing well to defend his teammate up ahead. Dark there in 9th. He's got past Jose Manuel on those mediums. We'll see whether that changes towards the end of things. But here it goes. Epic, a great run down into turn 11. I didn't say it was the best overtaking spot, but it is possible with that DRS, and he does make it through. Does Rackety fight himself now under pressure from Cotters? The Alfa Romeo behind on the same age tires, but it's the mediums versus the hards. Cotters hasn't had the greatest, start to this season, and that's not the way to end
that
it either.
is not good.
Wall. And he's retired on track there. Will not be best pleased with that, and neither will the stewards. But a front wing misses. Crampy and Artex exchange for neither things. The Williams now back on top. He takes a huge chunk out of turn 2. Wavy, meanwhile, fighting with Wisp, defending P3 valiantly as Crampy gets past into turn 4.
Crampy, tight with Artex. Oh man, we still have this fight for the lead waging here. Wavy and Wisp now having a battle of their own as the softs are really helping Wisp, and thankfully no safety car was deployed as a result of his teammates crash into the wall when he needs to pit. But hopefully Wavy now, the tire switch gonna come soon.
Well, Wisp, he's now ahead, but those tires, they will not be lasting much further from this point. The fact that he's made an overtake at this stage is very, very impressive on 9-lap-old softs compared to 12-lap-old mediums. You'd think that Wavy's tires would have a bit of an edge here. There's a yellow flag up. It's epic. The Ferrari's day goes from bad to worse. And it seems that points now are a faraway dream for the Scuderia, with one driver out and the other in 13th. There's penalties ahead, so maybe, just maybe, there are still opportunities for him, but points are a few seconds up the road for him.
Dark hunting down John, tight into 14-15 here. Maka leading this train, 2.8 on the rear of Gabizem. No penalty for him. John, however, in this fight does have a penalty of 3 seconds. Wavy and Wisp now still exchanging as we come through turns 2 and 3. Wisp holding on to that third position with the soft compound tires. We'll have to see if he can try and make it to the end. I think that his pit window has been extended quite a duration now.
Jordan, well, this is exactly what I was saying Wavy needed to avoid. He's got 4.5 seconds to Gabzium, and that would be a lot had he not got a 3-second penalty earlier with his exchange with Crampy in turn 4, and that is not what you want to see either. A little loss of traction out of turn 8, so Wavy struggling now, and with a driver ahead on 10-lap-old softs, you would expect him, especially with the pace he's shown all race long, to just get past, get this one done. But Gabzium is closing. Wavy needs to do something here, get past West and just run his race to the end. There's not long left, but if Gabzium can close 1.3 seconds with Wisp fighting Wavy here, it might just be there's 5 laps left. Can Wisp make those tires go to the end? It would be a miracle for the Swede if he could and claim a podium here in race 1, but it seems hard, just far-fetched to get the softs all the way to the end.
Watching Dark still continue to hunt down Jean, but we'll switch back, of course, to Wavy now as he weaves to the left-hand side, looking for an avenue to push through on the Alfa Romeo.
He's through. He needs to stay through now as we look back at the battle for P6. Maka on the inside, heavy on the brakes, closing the door for Dan, and Dan has a little mistake, and Jean goes straight back into the rear of him. No damage, I don't think, for the Alpha Tauri. He still gets past the Aston Martin, and Dark is looking on all of this. Wavy and Wisp in an exchange, and it's still closed through turn 4. We've seen problems through here all race long. It's not to be for the drivers, luckily, but Dan there, very much in the thick of a very, very intense fight. And Wavy managed to stay ahead of Wisp for P3.
Doing a lot of fighting right now in that car. Wisp, and I can see a few heads in chat coming through Wise saying the same thing, and here's an interesting exchange. Dark and Dan let him by. I'm almost positive. I didn't see the telemetry on board there.
Oh,
but
Wisp's gone! There's the tires. I don't know if it's a puncture, but something's gone. There's not a puncture.
Just burned it out of turn 12 there. That front right looking very bad.
Does he keep going? Surely not. It looks like he's going to the pits, and he is. Well, he needed to come into the pits. He probably should have done so a couple of laps ago when his tyres were 8 or 9 laps old. Now he comes in 12 laps, and he's just taken too long. Flew too close to the sun with that strategy. It almost worked. It almost worked. Just 3 laps from the end of the race. But so close yet so far for the Alfa Romeo driver. For the Alfa Romeo team as well, as they're now both out of the points with Potters tiring on track a few laps ago. Rackety, Epic side by side. Epic still trying to claw something back from this race, and with Wisp there falling out of the points, the Ferrari back into them. 10th place for him. 1 point on the cards, and I say Manuel ahead As a 3-second time penalty, it seems unlikely, but with the way things have been going in this race, people have been making mistakes. Early days, and, well, the cobwebs for some people haven't quite been dusted off fully, it would seem.
Definitely. One thing to note, of course, driver of the day poll is ongoing. The link has been thrown around in the chat, so you can get a vote in for who you consider your driver of the day. And, well, there's been some good votes in already, and we love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, a few drivers worthy of that. There have been some great battles on track. You've got Maka up 15 right now, Jean up 13 places, Gabzium up 8. What a race he's had. But also, you've got to look at Artex first in qualifying, first in the race right now. Seems pretty comfortable with Crampy behind. They're on identical ERS. The management there has been pretty much perfect from both drivers. They've been copying one another just perfectly, lap after lap. Artex now seems to have found something on the tires in this late stage. Maybe a little bit better management.
A bit of a late move there. I don't know what happened between John and Dark, but it looked like John went to take the turn. Dark went inside. There was a tap. John went round, got recovered. Dan is back here as well. Bit of a tap into John, giving him a little bit of a boost through turn 8.
One thing that'll be interesting to note, we'll see whether Wisp can take fastest lap. He's currently on a 128 flat. 127.9 is the time to beat. You would expect him to beat that. If he doesn't, Artex on for a grand slam as well. Pole race win with fastest lap. We were on for that yesterday, but it was ripped away in Tier 4. See whether it gets ripped away in Tier 3 as well in the dying stages.
Jose Manuel on the rear of Jean. A little bit of a train here. We're going to jump to Dark as he looks for Maka quickly. Rampy, Artex into turn 1. We're on the penultimate lap of this race, and a fight for this lead has been waging on since it started. Rampy hunting down Artex is how it began, and here is how it may just end. Unless Crampy can get himself in front of this Honda-powered Red Bull.
And Dark and Mac are still exchanging, and there's a bit of an issue between the two. They're both facing the wrong way. A collision in turn 2. And you hate to see it, Wisp does get fastest lap to take it out of the top 10. He won't score that point. Neither will anyone else, but my Dark, they're definitely coming off worse than the Mercedes he was tangled with.
What a dramatic finish to this race. So many drivers struggling here in the end as the tire wear really starts to come through. 16-lap-old mediums for both of our front runners right now. Those aren't even the oldest tires on grid. The oldest tires, Dan, on those 19-lap-old, soon-to-be 20-lap-old mediums.
Crampy's looking good here for a last-lap push. He's got a little bit more ERS than Artex. He's pushed up, but he's done so with reserving some ERS. Can he find it on the last lap of the race? Lap 29 at 29. They've crossed onto it, the leaders, and Crampy is going for it into turn 1. We've seen this time after time in this race between just these two drivers alone, but we've also seen Artex come back into turn 4. Does Crampy have enough? He's got 8% advantage on the ERS to hold him off into turn 4 and for the whole lap as well. The move hasn't been done here in turn 4. It's the last lap, and that might be the last opportunity Artex gets. There is, of course, the DRS zone into turn 11, but has Crampy done enough? He was a lot of people's favourites coming into this, as there's a problem for the Aston Martin of Dan. It was seen as a yellow flag. He is getting passed by everyone down at the back. But it all comes down to this. The last lap, the leaders are close. There's battles elsewhere as well on track. Epic and Maka fighting, but here goes Artex in the DRS of Crampy. Can he find it down into turn 11? He's close. Is he going to risk it? He is. But Crampy closes the door. There's not enough space for the Red Bull there. Crampy now 3.5 tenths clear. He's got 3 corners to go. There's one of them. Just 2 more. He's still got the ERS advantage miraculously. Artex is pushing. It's incredible stuff from the pair of them here. The lights are flashing on the rear of the cars. Here we go, 14, there's 15, Crampy still ahead. Artex will have DRS to the line, it's gonna be close. Crampy's leading, and he's gonna get the win here. Artex. It was so close to being a Grand Slam. Wisp took fastest lap, and in the last lap, Crampy takes the win from under him as well. Wavy gets third, and he keeps the podium. It's the third race. It's the third double podium. It's the third different constructor to get it. It was Ferrari with the 1-3. It was Alfa Romeo with the 1-2, and now it's Williams with the 1-3.
Thrilling.
My, oh my, what a race.
What a thrilling campaign this was, Unicorn. Absolutely electric here in Bahrain for the Tier 3 division. Oh my, what a race. What a race. Everyone needs to put their hands up after that one and breathe, because that was intensity start to finish. You love to see it. A last lap exchange essentially for the lead between Crampy and Artex there. And Artex, he tried everything he could. He risked it into turn 11. Of course, Crampy, he had the line. He had everything he had at his disposal, and he is on the top step after a thrilling campaign. Of course, it was Artex on pole, but Crampy had something to say about it, and it's a Williams 1-3 to finish out a stellar drive here.
Yeah, awesome. It looked like Artex might have found their weak point at that late stage in that race when Wavy and Crampy exchanged positions. Wavy picked up the 3 seconds, and then, of course, he dropped off again. He obviously didn't quite have the pace to stick with the pair of them, but he did so well in that race, you know, to keep himself on that podium as well. He got a position gain. He started fourth. He finishes third. Crampy third to first. Great race for both of them. They got past that Ferrari early on as well. Epic qualifying second, finishing eighth. So getting some nice points there. It looked like he was out of them in the late stages, but manages to claw some back for the Scuderia. And obviously, every point counts, especially given their great start yesterday in Tier 4. But I'm sure Williams will be very happy with that. They were confident going into it, and they'll be confident coming out of it as well. Red Bull, though, you got to say, Artex, what a drive. Didn't quite get the result he would be hoping for, but hopefully we'll get to speak to him in a moment in the interviews. But a great drive nonetheless from the Red Bull.
Very good drive, and I really enjoyed this race. There was just so much intensity in this one for our third race of the week. Oh man, we're gonna get interviews in just a second here.
Another driver as well. I want to put a quick mention to Jean, 19th to 5th. A huge drive as well. And the Mercedes squad as well, 6th and 7th there. I think Jose Manuel was, of course, reserving, but we will hopefully kickstart some interviews. We have the two Williams ready and wearing to go. And of course, we'll start with P3. Wavy, congratulations, the first race, a podium for you and your teammate. How are you feeling after that one?
Amazing, actually. We're sweating so hard. And
It
like
was-
the teamwork.
Absolutely, it was intense from start to finish. Obviously, qualifying, second row lockout. It was looking good for you in the start of the race as well. You both got past the Ferrari of Epic. Talk us through that opening lap and the opening few laps.
Yeah, we know we were like safe behind, but we tried to just sneak in there. No, we know they have ABS, so we can brake a bit later, and we got a position, so OP.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, the race proceeded. You were the first into the pit stops onto the mediums. The soft medium one stop working out well for the pair of you. And then, of course, we had a safety car. It was a bit of a tussle afterwards. And then we saw you and Crampy exchange through turn 4, and you picked up a 3-second time penalty. Was that orchestrated? Were you just trying to let Crampy through to go and fight Artex? Or was that just a mistake between you and the heat of the moment? Talk us through that bit, because it looked like it was all falling apart for you for a moment there.
It was a mistake, but I was like, I need to let him go anyway, because he's quicker, and I wouldn't be able to stay with Artex, because he's actually really quick. So we just decided to swap, and then I got a triple warning there, so kind of unlucky, but still, we got 1 and 2.
Well, absolutely. You know, and of course, you managed to fend off. You had a fight with Wisp as well. Were you ever worried that that fight with Wisp is maybe disconnected here? Seems we've lost him.
We've
I don't
lost
know if
Wavy.
that's a connection issue or what, but well, an abrupt end to the interview. But we do have, I think he's back. Welcome back, Wavy, to the box. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, we're just mentioning Wisp. You had a fight with him there. Were you worried that that was going to drag, you know, the few hard runners behind into your 3-second window if you couldn't clear Wisp quick enough?
Yeah, actually, I was so scared, because the guy behind was catching me like pretty quickly, and Wisp was on the softs, which wasn't gonna make it to the end anyway. So I was kind of frustrated with him, but I overtook him and he spun, I think. So it's all fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Wavy, congratulations, a double podium
Great
for
job.
Williams in the opening race. A huge confidence boost, I'm sure. And of course, thank you for taking the time to interview here as well.
No problem. Thank you.
Wavy. All right. That was Wavy, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we have our second position podium finisher here from the Red Bull squad, from pole position in this campaign, Artex. Congratulations on the podium. I imagine a little bit bittersweet considering how this race went, but, well, what's your take on it? Congrats.
Thank you for the congratulations. What a race!
Very, very, very intense race.
Yes, wow, no, P2. Wow. Next race, I will win.
Next race you'll win. It was a very hard fought race, Artex. Big expectations for the Netherlands. How did you feel this race went? What did you think about the safety car?
Oof, the safety car in the Bahrain race.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know for what the safety car exits. Well, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I can't
okay.
speak English.
No, that's okay. All that matters
But-
is that you had a good race, my friend, and you started it first position. You had a very intense leadership fight with Crampy, and now it's, round 1 is wrapped up. Are you excited for round 2?
Yes, I'm very excited for round 2, and yes, this.
Well, thank you very
I
much,
can-
Artex. We'll let you get practicing, and just a huge congratulations for an amazing race, a very consistent race today.
Yes, well, no more questions, please.
No problem.
I can
No problem.
give you answers. Sorry.
That's okay. Congrats, Artex. Thank you for coming. That was Artex, everyone. Gotta love it. Last but not least, of course, we're gonna get not only our race winner here, but our driver of the day. It is the legend himself, Mr. Crampy, a very, very long-standing member of the MRL now. Well, it's a race win here for the first round of Season 5, Crampy. And I have to say, it was a very consistent drive from you. How are you feeling?
Very good. After quali, I was scared of Artex's pace, but in the race, I kept up well and then calculated the move till the last lap, so then he wouldn't be able to get me back, which worked out very well.
How does it feel winning the first round of the season, of course, for the Williams squad? Your teammate, Wavy, finishing 3rd. It's a very good start for you as teammates. And, of course, Netherlands next week, not far from home for Wavy. Is there big expectations for the next week?
I mean, we hope so. I haven't really driven Zandvoort on this game yet, but I'm sure we'll practice a lot, do what we can do to the best of our ability and try and get another good result.
Any big rivals that you think just from this race and qualifying that you're going to have to be worried about? Obviously, you kept things tight with Artex through the entirety of this race, and Wavy as well. Things are looking quite tight in this grid from top to bottom. Do you think it's going to be a turbulent season with a lot of adjustments in the standings, or do you think Williams is going to be pretty strong throughout?
I mean, I hope Williams can be strong throughout, because obviously then we win, which is good. And then also the battle with Artex, if it's like that every race, then it's going to be so fun to drive, and it'll just make it a better experience.
Well, Unicorn, it was a stellar drive from Crampy. Do you have any questions for a race winner here in Bahrain this evening?
Well, I think we've covered most things, but obviously, Crampy, congratulations. You've obviously won a Constructors' Championship before, in the start we've seen here. It seems like you could be doing it again as well. Obviously, a lot of confidence came into it. you know, obviously now as well, the result has sort of backed that up. So do you think you could do it seasons back to back? Obviously, season 4, you got a Constructors' Championship. Can you do it again in season 5?
I'd hope so.
Well, Grand Prix, congratulations. Obviously, the race win and obviously driver of the day as well. A man of the people, a lot of support throughout that race in the chat as well. So I'm sure you'll be greeted with open arms in the voice channels after this. But Grand Prix, congratulations. And as always, thank you for taking the time to interview afterwards as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crampy, and congrats. All right, Unicorn, that wraps up Tier 3, and what a race and what a campaign it was. I love to see it, and I imagine you enjoyed all of that action just the same. Crampy coming through with a race win here, just ahead of Artex at the line, and what a battle it was throughout between those two. And of course, his teammate Wavy coming through into that third slot. We have the Americas Tier 1 division this evening, and it's just in about 4.5 hours from now, as it will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight. That's 2 a.m. for our friends in the UK and 3 a.m. for our friends in Central Europe. And that grid, I will be commentating it with my good friend Mr. Seb from the Land Down Under in Australia. And I have to say, I drove in this grid last season, the Americas Tier 1, and I was definitely underskilled by the end of it. And looking at who is lining up tonight, we have, of course, reigning champion Becky B, who will be looking to defend his title in his first round of contention this season, and I am very much looking forward to it. The grid looking very, very intense. So I hope you'll join us for that, and it's going to be happening in just about 4.5 hours. But with that said, massive shout out to our great partners, Fytron Software, and to everybody who came through tonight with the subscriptions, the follow button. We greatly appreciate all of the support. We had some raids yesterday as well, and just so much support coming through for the community and the Racing League, and all of the support. Well, if you haven't noticed, it goes back right into these drivers. We've got some great grids happening this season. All of the championship winners from our Tiers 2 and 1 Americas division, as well as our Tiers 4 through 1 divisions, will be getting a €50 prize for the driver champion. And of course, our champions division, which will be debuting this Saturday with Unicorn and I at the helm of the commentary booth once again, will have a €2,000 prize pool at the helm as well. So a lot of intensity coming through here. Unicorn, any last regards before we head things off before America's Tier 1 later this evening?
Yeah, like you said, Shift, this season, it's fast. The racing has been absolutely incredible throughout, and just constantly you look forward to the next one. And, you know, like you said, America's tonight, Tier 2 tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely relentless. 15 rounds of this racing. If it keeps going at the quality it's been going so far, I'm looking forward to each and every one of them. But thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure, obviously, Tier 3. I wasn't necessarily expected to be here, but it's been a pleasure to commentate with you, Striff. But yeah, absolutely incredible stuff from the drivers tonight, and we look forward to seeing more of it later on with America's.
Thank you, everybody. Have an excellent, excellent evening. Join us for a raid as always. Today, we're going to be visiting Mr. Esports driver Lucas Blakely. And, of course, wish him well. We'll see you for the racing action later this week and later tonight.